gentle reminder of all the people that he is destroying in this process. I would like to welcome up next to the stage the very definition of an activist. If you want to learn how to fight back, to learn from, listen to, watch his videos, visit his website at wethegovern.com. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Glen Morgan.
All right, it's always good to be here. I just want to, a couple weeks ago, I was the MC at the event that we had up here at the Capitol. So, Tyler, I'm going to step in real quick. For those of you who can't get into the square here, freedom and liberties that you want to stand up for, and they hate it when we do events like this. For 6 months, we couldn't come here in the Capitol because they had fenced it off, denied us access to this Capitol, denied us access to our legislators, turned the entire legislative session into a Zoom event, which meant they could mute anybody who had dissenting opinions. That's never been done before. And I really think that there is a terrible disease in our government right now.
Yeah, it's called conning.
And it's the government staph infection. And it starts from Inslee and it goes right down. And if you want to know why they're firing all these people who are actually willing to think for themselves or stand up for their freedoms, it's because they don't like people like that working in government. And unfortunately, as somebody who tries to expose and write stories about the truth in government and what's actually going on, it's very difficult to distinguish in an ocean of incompetence, which is kind of synonymous with government today, to find those mountains of corruption that are concealed underneath that ocean of incompetence. But I'm going to ask you to help me, because many of you who do work for state government, you've been there a while. You know where the bodies are buried. You know where the money's gone. You know the people who got special treatment. You know those people who are sexually harassing people, but they never got in trouble? The ones they're covering up because they're politically connected? You know those people that got those special contracts? The grant grifting operations that are going on? Nobody knows it better than the people who work in government today. And they're threatening to fire you, a lot of you. So I'm going to ask you, bring those hard drives to work.
Absolutely.
And those thumb drives. And let's start downloading the truth. I believe in consequential activism. And if you don't believe that exposing the truth is one of the greatest fears that these guys have, or those clowns over there in that building, then you don't know government. But I don't have to tell you if you work for them. So start exposing, start capturing the truth. Bring us the documentation, because we will be willing to expose it. And I'm going to point out to you that being a whistleblower is not easy, but when they fire you, it sure gets easier. And you can go ahead and try to give that to the Seattle Times or some other paper like that. There once was an idea in journalism in America today that they would comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. But that idea is long gone. The media has totally corrupted itself. Remember, it was the Seattle Times that sat on the mayor of Seattle and his sexual predation for almost 10 years. They knew that story completely, and they sat on it, and they buried it, and they hid it until they finally had to go public with it. How many other stories do you think have been killed by mainstream media because they're corrupt? A lot. But that's okay. Send them the story too, but send it to me. I know Ari Hoffman's going to be up here speaking pretty soon. Send it to him. In fact, send it to everybody. Let's just have a contest and who can publish it first. I think that that's what we have to realize. We have to push back. We have to find the things that they don't want us to see, that they don't want us to expose. And I'm sorry if you work for state government and you're going through this. I have a lot of friends. I live in South Thurston County. Many people in Thurston County work for state government. I have a lot of friends in this situation right now whose families are affected or they're affected with this threat. Now, one of the questions is Governor Inslee bluffing?
No.
I should really correct myself, because Inslee in his head probably doesn't know what that means, but I'm really referring to are his handlers bluffing? Because I don't think they realize the significance of what's going on. The paper's saying there's a small percentage of people. They are wrong. All over the state. I have been to various state aid entities and government school districts where over a third of the teachers or employees or people who work there are not willing to comply with the mandates. Now, that may not be true in places where compliance is very high. The Evergreen State College, right? I mean, they comply to everything. But outside of government entities like that, there's a lot of non-compliance out there. More significantly, the people who aren't compliant are the ones who actually do real work.
Amen.
And firing them, I think, is a huge mistake for our government right now. I feel like they're bluffing, but I don't know. Maybe they really are that stupid. I never put anything past them. But I do want to say, and I'm going to close with this before I introduce the next speaker. Every video that I do, I always have a phrase that I use at the end, and I believe that it's absolutely true. The future belongs to those who show up. Today you've shown up. But it's more than a rally. We have to keep showing up, finding consequential, significant things that we can do to make an impact. And in the end, we will win. Now, I want to introduce the next speaker here because I used to work with him when I was at the Freedom Foundation. And if you want to know how serious somebody is as an activist, that's the guy that's willing to go, guy or gal, willing to go out with you in a truck and put up signs until the sun rises the next day. And somebody who's willing to do that time and time again. And I have to tell you, it's my honor to introduce the next speaker today, somebody who I've done that with. It's always one of those tests to see just how serious you are as an activist, and it's Matthew Hayward. If you can join with me in welcoming Matthew Hayward.